So there are several things I like to do on my podcast. Sometimes I like to do the unusual, the strange, and let's get to know the person behind the person. I should say away from the field. In this episode, yours truly's got a little bit of a cough, and I also like to go unedited, by the way. If you mess up, we'll just keep going, maybe put it on the blooper reel, but yours truly would be heading the blooper reel. But never do I do anything to embarrass or humiliate anybody, and there's no better person to signify that than John Meadows. Former assistant coach at Heritage. He coached golf as well. He's a great golfer. He's a good softball player, too. I talked to John Meadows in a new segment I call Riding With. We were going down the road the other night after Coach Meadows helped me broadcast a high school football game, and we just turned on the recorder. I would hold it over to him when he was talking, and then I'd try to put it back to me when I was talking. Again, as long as you can hear people, I'm not consumed with, are they wearing a headset? Do they have the microphone right in their face? Maybe I should be, but not consumed with that. It's John Meadows on the Sports Buffet podcast. You know, not all of my segments on the Sports Buffet are golden, so we'll see how this one is. I call it riding with, because you don't need to know if we could be in a 16-wheeler, we could be on a bike, if we were on a motorcycle, you would know it. But my guinea pig, John Meadows. One word didn't work so well. How can this one work?
Well, here's what I do know, Bob. They probably know we're not on a bike.
How do they know we're not on a Schwinn?
Well, I think they know that because if they've seen us around, we are more four wheels instead of two wheels.
Yeah, I don't know many bikes that handle me right now either. I've gained a few pounds here and there. Going the back roads of Bedford as we saw Heritage win soundly tonight. Let's talk a little bit of high school football while we're here. Pioneers, if you had to write a headline, would you say Pioneers primed for playoffs?
I think I would say Pioneers are ready for the challenge. The challenge being the next two regular season games, which are huge games, which are the biggest games that they've had this year, other than the first game that they played this season, the team out of West Virginia.
Are they peaking right now?
They look like they are peaking right now.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. In order to win the state, you have to win 5 playoff games, which means if we're peaking now, we got 2 more regular seasons, which is 7 weeks, and that's a long period because that's basically what they've played so far this year, Bob, is 7 games.
Take me inside coaching a little bit. Did you coach your kids differently at this point in the season as you did week 1 or week 2?
No. If I did my job at the beginning of the season, the end of the season was just preparation. Okay, so if I put the fundamental in that I needed to in the first few weeks, even before we even started football, then the job at the end of the season was easy because they knew what the expectations were.
Not a one word or anything, but if you had to describe John Meadows, the coach, how would you describe him?
Intense. There you go. You wanted that one word.
No, I said it doesn't have to be one word.
Well, that's the one that's easy for me. I also thought I was a very prepared coach. You know, I learned that early in my career in college that I played in a position, free safety, where I may not have been the fastest free safety, so I had to be very well prepared. And that's what I tried to do with my kids, too, is make sure they were prepared for any situation that they may face.
I would never ask to compare a coach here or there, but give me a coach that you coached with who had that preparation.
You know, one of the very first ones was Coach Green from Heritage, no doubt.
Jimmy Green, in case people don't know.
Yes, Jimmy Green from Heritage. I really enjoyed coaching with him. And him and I always felt like that our philosophies and beliefs in the way you play the game was very similar.
What made Jimmy Green such a good coach?
Well, I think, number one, he had played the game. And I'm not saying that you have to have played the game to be a a great coach, but it sure does help. So you know what it's like to cross that line. Number 2 was basically preparing the teams. And number 3 was expectations. We expected kids to perform up to their potentials. Not above their potentials, but up to their potentials each and every play.
Do people that writers and announcers, I think a lot of us could go under the quality of nerd who never played the game. How overrated is playing the game when you have to kind of call the game? I mean, do you want referees to have played the game? How do you want playing the game in terms of personnel that is dealing with football during the year?
So as far as officials goes, here's what I wanted to officials. They didn't necessarily have to play the game, but here's was my expectation. Number 1 was they hustled. We put in a lot of time in an entire season to play 10 games, and I expected them every Friday night that we were out there that they hustled. Number 2, and one of my biggest pet peeves, know the rules. Okay, don't come into a football game and not know what the rules are. And you say, well, how does that happen? Well, it does happen. You know, as long as they followed those 2 guidelines, hustling and knowing the rules, you're going to miss some plays and you're going to get some plays right. But as long as you're hustling and you're doing the best you can do, I can deal with that.
Do you even care about media?
Here's what I wanted to see from media. It wasn't about when I was a coach, and it wasn't about me as a coach, but I wanted to see the kids be able to look in the newspaper and see their name. I wanted them to be able to look on their local TV station and see highlights of them. That's what I like to see about media. And, you know, I reckon I'll say this out loud. I don't think that our local TV station does a good job at putting as many high school teams as we have. We should have high school TV coverage during the football season just about every day of the week.
It's hard. It's really hard, you know, when you're an undermanned facility. But, you know, I think the other thing, too, is I think in the Lynchburg area, Dennis Carter spoiled everybody for so many years.
Well, and that's the one thing I missed is seeing Dennis Carter. Because here's one thing I know. If Dennis Carter was still at the local station, we would have high school sports. Because he made sure that we had it. And you got to meet some kids that you may not necessarily get to meet. And you're not getting to see them now. And it meant something to look and see yourself on a clip on the TV.
A few more questions. You play adult league, baseball, softball, whatever you want to call it. So you've gotten to meet some people recently. How has it been getting to know Dennis Carter throughout?
Well, here's one thing I found out about Dennis Carter. You know, we play in a softball league together. Dennis Carter is a really good softball person. But the one thing I know about Dennis Carter, just knowing him through the football years and also getting to play softball, Dennis Carter is a great person.
Right.
Period.
You ever played golf with him yet?
I actually played in his golf tournament this year. You know, he has a tournament, and it supports scholarships for high school kids. And we actually put a team from our softball team in it, and we finished first in our flight. So that was fun. But no, I haven't personally played with him.
I want to say Dennis is a lefty.
He's right-handed. I do know that in softball.
Okay. I could be wrong.
Yeah, he bats right-handed, and like I said, he's a very good softball player.
Now, the other guy that you've played with is another Lynchburg media personality, Mr. George Flickinger, wearing his Astros old school jersey or his Hillcats jersey. How's it been getting to know Flickinger?
I have really enjoyed getting to know Flickinger. Here's what I know about Flickinger. He doesn't have an off button. It's go, go, go the whole time. Plus, he may have one of the quickest bats on the softball field. And he plays shortstop and very good player.
Who was your favorite athlete when you were growing up?
Me, Bob.
if you had to name another one that maybe when John Meadows was like 8 or 9 or 10 or 11.
So here's the thing. I early on, I became a big Raiders fan. So I grew up with, one of them, Dave Casper, tight end, Ken Stabler, the Snake, Ted Hendricks. I watched the Stork. I watched them all. And did I have a one favorite one? I'll tell you one that I really enjoyed watching was Bo Jackson.
Yep.
He was something else. But, I just enjoyed watching people who played the game hard.
I think, and you weren't around, obviously, for Jim Thorpe, even though I like to joke that you're that old. But, I think if you looked at a two-sport athlete in the professional circle, what if Bo Jackson had been able to stay healthy? Would we be talking about him? Because I don't think a lot of kids now, like teenagers, unfortunately know how good Bo Jackson was.
You're exactly right. I mean, Bo Jackson, just to be a professional player in one sport is amazing. To be able to do it in two sports is unbelievable, and especially do it at the level that he did it at.
And I mean, he was good. I mean, it's not like he was just on the team.
Oh, yeah. Some of his runs were pretty dead burn amazing. And one thing I know, I would have hated to been on the side that was trying to make that tackle too, because he wasn't going to, he might run around you, but also he was going to run over you.
Can you imagine the two people I don't think I would have wanted to tackle both played in the SEC when you had, they were about 5 or 6, 7 years apart. Herschel Walker, I wouldn't have wanted to tackle.
No.
And then Bo Jackson, I wouldn't have wanted to tackle.
No, I agree with you there. Now, I did have a guy in college that I always knew where he lined up, and I was a little scared. His name was Orson Mobley. He played tight end, ended up playing tight end for the Denver Broncos. He was about 6'7", tight end. And his quarterback at the time was Jimbo Fisher. He's the only guy that when he lined up, I looked at where he was because I knew if they threw him the ball, we were going to have a collision. And I may not win that collision. I was going to hit him, but he was scary.
Now, the thing, too, is a lot of tight ends now are almost like a fifth receiver or a fourth receiver, third receiver. Back then, no. Tight ends were really, A, there to block, and B, they might catch the occasional pass, but they weren't 6'7" either.
So that was a scary thing about it is, now it's commonplace to have a tight end that size. Back then, that was not normal. If you had a 6'4" tight end, he was huge. And this guy, like I said, I think he was about 6'7". He's the biggest man I'd ever seen. And, you're right. He was different.
I think riding with may be a permanent segment as long as we have John Meadows every time. We'll just never turn it on for anybody else. But, hey, riding with, you have christened it, so I thank you for that.
No problem. I enjoyed it, Bob. Hope you get a lot of views.
You just heard the segment Riding With. John Meadows and I taking the stroll down memory lane and through real lanes, through real roads, I should say. And John Meadows, at the end, he said, I hope you get a lot of views. Well, thankfully, people don't have to look at mine and John's face. We have faces for radio, and that's why you hear us here. But seriously, Coach Meadows, one of the finer guys you'll find around. Good stories, and Coach Meadows will really do anything for you. And he's up for anything in terms of trying new segments and everything like that. So I really appreciate Coach Meadows for this. We'll have more Riding With coming down the road on the Sports Buffet podcast.